You're still watching Prime Morning. This is the big interview. Today we are doing something different. We are coming from cantonment all the way from the house of Osaje for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Now this house was given to them in the year 1976. Yep, you heard me right. Now you can only guess who our guest is, but guess and watch this video. When we come back, I'll be speaking to the one and only Samia Nkrumah.
Samia Yaba Christina Nkrumah is the founder and director of the Kwame Nkrumah Foundation, which aims to promote the vision, ideas, and legacy of her late father, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana's first president. A former member of parliament, she is also the first woman to chair a political party in Ghana. Samia is a strong advocate for the political and economic unification of Africa to ensure the continent's future prosperity and stability. Currently, Samia serves on the board of trustees of the Bibliotheca Alexandrina, a cultural institution located in Alexandria, Egypt, to promote understanding among different cultures, religions, and ideologies. Schooled in Egypt and Ghana, Nkrumah obtained a bachelor's degree and master's degree in Arabic and Middle Eastern Studies at the School of Oriental and African Studies in London. Samia Yaba speaks English, Arabic, and Italian fluently. As part of our celebration of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, we sit with his daughter, Samia Yaba Christina, on a big interview.
So you've seen her profile video as she's seated here. I love the color she's wearing today. You look radiant, Samia.
Thank you. So do you.
Thank you so much. How are you today?
I'm very well.
Great.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for welcoming us in your beautiful abode. I was telling you how beautiful this place is. And you gave me history of this place.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Our father didn't own any house, any property. But so when we returned, when the Achampong government invited us back in 75, late 75, they prepared this house for our mother. And yes, and we've been in and out since.
So you moved in here in 76?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. First we were Job 600,
right.
Which, as you might know, it was constructed for the 1965 OAU summit.
Okay.
But so it has some lodgings, some suites, and we stayed there until this was ready for us to move in.
And it's a beautiful place.
Yes, indeed. Yes, natural.
Yeah,
So
a lot of plants and all of that. And you've kept it like this since 76?
Yes, just painting. And we've been out of the country, by the way.
Right.
So for a period of time in the 80s when we all left, it was actually, I think, given to Justice Annan to live in it for a while.
Right.
And we came back, I think by the early years of the 2000, this century, I think Seiko, our brother, was the first to come back. And the government of President Kufuor confirmed that this is, our house, and we've been, at least one of us has been here every now. I wasn't always living here, but about 10 years ago, and we've kept it good architecture, lights, the garden,
everything,
so
still the same.
Yes, needs renovation, no doubt about it, but we'll do it.
No, but when I look at the ceiling, when I look at almost everything, I was watching the fun and I said, wow, this is unique. Almost everything in here is beautiful, very unique, very antique, and I love it.
Oh, I'm happy.
Yes, I do. So you have, some memories in this house as a child, right?
As a teenager.
As a teenager.
That's
okay.
Right. That's right.
What are some of your memories here?
Oh, so we were here. So when we returned, we were put in Achimota school. Yes, so I've made good friends, and yes, they would visit, and we grew. We followed the Operation Feed Yourself directive. So we had an excellent vegetable garden, which we were eating from it, all kinds of vegetables, particularly when in the hard years, the early 80s, we are too young, but those of us who passed through those years, there was almost nothing. And I think most households took it upon themselves to have a little garden. And somehow we've kept that tradition.
So the garden is still there?
No, of course not the same garden, but we try to keep on planting things in it. You know, Ghana, the whole of Ghana is so fertile. So. So is this garden. So.
You know, the last time we had a conversation and you mentioned that your father never owned a property.
Yes.
Everybody was surprised. And I know after that conversation, so many people have asked you, is it true your father never owned a property and all of that? You know, but see, some people also felt where you were staying in Peduase was for your father, wasn't it?
Indeed it was. Originally it was for him, built by him with the help of particularly his strong women supporters, you know, who supported him politically during the independence struggle and thereafter. So it was, yes, his money, people's money, supporters' money. So it was meant to be his home. But he, in his typical fashion, that, you know, he gave it to the state to be what it is today, a presidential lounge for dignitaries, for the state of Ghana. And we are proud of that. But that's just how Kwame Nkrumah was. He gave everything for Ghana, everything for Africa. I mean, his whole life was his whole life work. I mean, that was how to serve his country. He was unique. He was our African
Do you sometimes
prophet.
wish he didn't do that, where, you know, as Samia probably could say, oh, this is a house, that's a house. We have like about 10 or 20 properties. Do you sometimes feel like that?
No, 10 of this, no, because obviously I'm influenced by how he was thinking. So, no, he was a modest man, and I think so are we, his children. But yeah, there was a time when I wondered, oh, why didn't he leave us something? Because life was hard at times, and I had to work and study, do 2 jobs, even in London. Yes, life was, so we didn't grow up privileged, but that was a wonderful education, and that's why we empathize so much with people who are going through struggles in life. So there was a moment when I would think, oh, why didn't he leave us something? But then as I grew older, I understood. And I'm so proud of him and so proud to be associated with a leader who was so selfless, because he had to somehow show the way. You know, others were going overboard. So he had to show the way, even to his own, as he explained it, even to his cabinet, to his ministers, to his appointees. You know, he had to show them that to take Ghana from a colonial, you know, territory to an independent, self-reliant country, an industrialized country as he wanted us to be, to take us to that level entailed sacrifices from everybody, including and beginning with the leader. You know, so now I understand his vision, I understand his blueprints for Ghana's transformation, for Africa's unification. And so I can't help but be proud. Whatever decision he took, I stand by it, and I want to learn from it. And that's why on these occasions, I'm so happy to represent Kwame Nkrumah to the younger generation. I think this is the task of the Kwame Nkrumah Foundation, which we are launching, the book I'm writing about our life with him, living in his shadow. I think the main objective is to reintroduce him to the younger generation. Because as I said at Nkrofol when we were celebrating his birth at the Nkrumah Fest, that the secret to Ghana's success, actually, I truly believe, is in picking up his work, his policies, his speeches, his industrialization plan for Ghana, its unification program and blueprint, the key to Ghana's success is to pick up these precious, that precious inheritance, if you will, and somehow use it to deal with every single aspect of our lives.
Samia, with all the things that he did, very selfless, not even owning a property, and at the end of the day, people still felt that at that time, he wasn't the best for Ghana to have, and so they overthrew him. Do you think, Ghanaians, as we are, we don't want selfless people, or we don't want selfless leaders as a stance?
Okay, now, what you said is a narrative that we've bought and accepted. The truth is that it's not that people were unhappy with him, because how did the coup happen? The coup was masterminded, backed, even funded from outside Ghana.
Right.
Now, more and more books, declassified documents, so people, we can all do the research, point to a fact that the coup was masterminded by the CIA and other Western intelligence agencies. And the reasons are clear. This was a leader who was taking his country out of the clutches, the economic clutches of the superpowers. And he was taking us on the road to what we call economic independence,
right.
Owning our economy, at least the commanding heights of our economies, and industrialization, producing everything we need, and pushing for the unity, not just any unity, but union governments of African states, political and economic unity. So he was a threat, basically. At least that's how I think they were misguided to perceive him as a threat. Because a strong Africa, I believe, is a strong Europe, a strong America. Who wants a poor neighbor next to them, So I think that was so that perception, rather, I started saying, the perception that the coup was born inside Ghana, the reasons for the coup, I think is misplaced. They just exploited the situation when we needed to harness all our efforts and maybe make a little sacrifice so that we can build up our nation properly for us, not for anyone else. I think that was exploited and a few officers, a few police commissioners were somehow they were persuaded to betray Kwame Nkrumah, to betray the nation. Because the moment the coup happened, there was a reversal of all his progressive, forward-thinking policies. So one by one, factories stopped or sold. Nuclear reactor for nuclear power was taken away. The gold mining, gold refinery, which was almost 90% complete, stopped, took us ages. And the state mining corporation, imagine, we were having a state mining corporation. Do we understand what that means? That we didn't stop the private, I think Ashanti Gold was there at the time. We did not stop that, but we were also getting ready. Thank you. So by now, where would we have been? All this was stopped. All this, the Black Star shipping line, so that we don't spend money on foreign currency. Imagine even what we would have earned from having our own Black Star shipping line. So all this was stopped. So I think the motive of the coup was, yes, to stagnate the economy and keep us as a dependent country economically. And unfortunately,
but it's amazing. After all these years, do you think we've been able to pick up from where he left off?
We have to. This is the task of this generation, and we have to, because there's nothing that has worked for Ghana as much as Nkrumah's mindset and way of thinking. And the industrialization and the factories, okay, they are gone or stagnating, but we can still pick it up. It is repairable, We can continue. We can take it up again. So it's something that we need to think about and prioritize above all else. There are things that are harder to reverse, like, for example, unfortunately, the illegal mining and what we call the mining and the galamsey. These are the things that if we don't tackle them head on, our health is going to be damaged.
Our health is at risk, yes.
Our land, water bodies, that's our real strength, which is our land and what's on it. It's going to be damaged. And the trouble with this is that whereas the industries can be rebuilt,
right,
our health would be wasted.
It's wasted. Samia, how do you think
replace that?
How do you think your father would have tackled galamsey?
Knowing how he had this clarity on issues, I have no doubt that he could even have resorted to implementing or imposing a state of emergency at this point. You see, we understand the challenges. Yes, you have to bring all stakeholders to agree to anything that any government would do. We are not unaware of it. And I myself used to sit and think, okay, what about those young people who are going to lose their livelihoods? I myself was in half a mind. But as the time goes on and I see the damage galamsey is causing us, I'm thinking, no, we need drastic measures because what we are losing is something we cannot replace. We are not going to be able to replace that. And when I want to commend, by the way, all these organizations like Eco-Conscious Citizens and others who've taken it upon themselves to keep on educating us, months, years, educating us, protesting, talking, doing whatever they can to make us understand this, the serious damage to our health, our economy, our countries. That I've finally come to the conclusion that no, we have to be like parents who sometimes you have to stop your child from misbehaving and then sit and see, okay, how are we going to resolve this situation once and for all. So where we've reached, I think we really have to consider the most drastic measures. And governments must not be afraid, because even if they lose some support, from those engaging in this activity, the immense support they are going to gain from the populace, from the majority who are saying, no, this must stop for the sake of our children and the generation that's coming after our children. The massive support that they would make up for the loss of some small support from people who are engaging in this activity. So I've come to that conclusion after thinking and struggling over it. And at the same time, we must think of, yes, a state mining corporation. That was what we started.
State mining corporation.
Absolutely. That was what we started, and that is how we started, and that is, I think, the way forward. We are not saying there should be no private hands, but in addition, we also need a state mining corporation. And if you think about it, I mean, look at what's happening in Burkina. We are all in admiration of Traoré.
Yes.
And they are doing it. They are starting it. So I think that is something we have to consider. A development state is a must in Ghana. We need the state and the private sector to work hand in hand.
Right. What do you think about the gold board?
It is in the right direction. I mean, it's in order. What remains for us to do is to make sure that it is accountable, transparent, so that we know that the beneficiaries of all these initiatives are the people of Ghana.
Right.
Whenever the state comes in, what needs to happen is to ensure that the people of that state will benefit. That's and that's something our father spoke about. So he even said that, when people were criticizing him about the one-party state, of course, he explained the context of that. Most countries were moving in that direction at the time, developing countries, particularly in Africa. But he made it very clear that you cannot have a one-party state without implementing socialist-oriented policies. Meaning what? How do we translate that? Meaning without making sure that this one-party state is spending the money on all the people, that there's a trickle down of this control of the state. It doesn't mean that if the state controls it, only a few benefits. Right. And what happens to the vast majority who need it the most, you see? So he even said it will not work if the money is not being spent on the people. It will fail, and it will be the most horrific tyrant of a state, you see? So there were conditions to the people think he just was a dictator, wanted to say one party. He put conditions for the success of the
people.
Yes, the people. The people must always benefit.
The people that say he's a dictator, why were they saying this, Samia?
Partly negative propaganda, because the part of the coup, actually preparing for the illegal overthrow of his government, was to alienate him from the people, to make people accept a narrative that Kwame Nkrumah was bad, Kwame Nkrumah was a dictator, Kwame Nkrumah was amassing wealth for himself. So it was a narrative to make him unpopular. And the declassified documents are proving that too. The propaganda was a strategy, a strategy to prepare for the illegal overthrow of his government. So when he initiates any policy, it was twisted, taken out of context, and made to appear as if he was doing it for his own gratification, But he said that time and truth are inseparable. And as time goes on, we are beginning to watch and see that we truly had a gift as a leader, But the wonderful thing is we still have his words, his writings, his policies, his documents, the plans Ghana had. We have it all. So it's not all lost. It might have been delayed, but not lost.
Yeah. Are Ghanaians celebrating him enough?
We are not doing badly. I mean, we are not. I could see. I was even impressed with the Nkrumah Fest at Nkrofon. You could see that young people, everybody was happy, was understanding, Kwame Nkrumah's vision to a large extent, what he did for us, what we must do, why the country must unite around his vision. You can see the optimism, the hope. But, of course, in other ways we are not. Ask me why. Let's look at our airports. I mean, that's one of the most glaring symbols of our fear of coming out and saying, yes, Kwame Nkrumah was a leader who did good for us. And we have been calling for the airport to go back to its original name. It was never called Kwame Nkrumah Airport. What was it called?
The Kotoka International Airport?
Yes.
Okay.
It was called Accra International Airport.
Okay.
So we've been calling for it to revert to that old name. We are not saying it should be called Kwame Nkrumah. I don't think Kwame Nkrumah needs more praise or accolades, But it is a symbolic gesture, but it will go a long way.
Why do you want the Kotoka to be taken off?
Right. Now, we have moved on. We've forgiven. We don't want to settle scores, you know. That's not, I've met General Ankrah's children. It's nothing about
you don't hold any grief?
No, definitely not. At all. At all. Not to the families, not even to the men who masterminded the coup. We are all Ghanaians and we have to move on. You know, we want to unite rather than divide ourselves. So, and I dare say, it's not just because Kotoka was a coup leader, one of the coup leaders who masterminded the coup, but because it's giving the wrong signal. You see, it's giving the wrong signal to name the airport after someone who contributed to our economic stagnation. You know, rather because
that's what you think about Kotoka. He contributed to our economic stagnation.
He was part of the those who overthrew Kwame Nkrumah.
Right.
You see, and who overthrew, we overthrew Kwame Nkrumah, we overthrew all our economic transformation framework and plan, you see. So it is as if we are acknowledging that it was okay to do that when it was not. So not because of Kotoka the person, no, we've forgiven Kotoka, you know, but it's because of what that name connotes in Ghanaian politics, and in that it's a rejection of Nkrumah and his policies. So are we still rejecting Nkrumah and his policies? No.
Okay.
So we are calling for the airport, which is the gateway to Ghana. Many people ask, why is it called Kotoka? And you don't know what to say. What did Kotoka do? Because if you go around the world, if you travel around the world, you will see that airports are normally named after founders of the country, people who've made immense contribution. So you see the contradiction, you see? So it's as if we are saying, well done, General Kotoka, for overthrowing Nkrumah.
Right, I understand you now. But then once it changes, won't Kotoka's family also now become very upset with the fact that the government is changing the name to a different name, or back to, you know, reverting it to the Accra International Airport?
Yes, yes.
They'll be hurt.
They probably will, and this is why we need to engage them. We need to have a discussion on that. Because what is our priority here? You know, which is more important? Which is more important? For Ghanaians to reject Nkrumah? For Ghanaians to reject Nkrumah? I don't think so. Because that's what we are saying, you see? And when you reject Nkrumah, you are not rejecting a man. You know, we've been saying this over and over again. That's why when some of us say Nkrumah never dies, we are not talking about the mortal man, but we are talking about everything he stood for.
Right.
You see, and just like we are talking about Galamsey, and we are saying now where we've reached, a state of emergency is it's not unthinkable. It's probably what we have to do, because it will never end without some drastic measures, whichever they are. Are people going to be hurt? Of course, some people are going to be hurt. But what is our priority? At every stage of our national development, we need to think, what is our priority? And I truly think that Ghanaians will benefit from revising our narrative about Kwame Nkrumah.
Now, we take a look at, I'm going back to the Kotoka International Airport. It's been named like that for more than probably 3 decades now, okay? And within all these 3 decades, we still celebrate Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Ghanaians have never rejected him. We have always seen him as, you know, the founder of Ghana. We've always seen him as the first president of Ghana. So many things have been attributed to this great man. And so that name has never been a rejection to Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Do you agree with me?
No, I think the name of our gateway is very symbolic.
So just that act is
This is one of the things.
One of the
I'm going to tell you the second
Okay.
one. The second one,
Okay.
which is more important than the change of the name, because
Okay.
I'm saying the change of the name of our airport,
Yes.
the gateway to Ghana, is symbolic.
Okay.
But it's a powerful symbol. That is why we are talking about it.
Okay.
It's a powerful symbol. This is our gateway. But the more important project is for Kwame Nkrumah's books to be available to schools.
Okay.
To be even part of the curriculum. Because they are not only part of Ghana's history, the real history of modern Ghana, of our independence, political independence, and how we were going to gain economic independence. But they contain information and advice that could help change the mindset of the next generation and lead us on to the path to true independence. That is how we will complete our independence struggle.
By having his books
Absolutely.
in there,
having
right.
his ideas in the mind
of the people.
of young people.
That's nice.
And I've said it many times, you don't have to agree with everything Kwame Nkrumah did or said, but you have to understand, we owe it to this great liberation leader, to understand what he was saying. Familiarize yourself to what this great leader was saying. And then it's up to you to make up your mind. You will decide. The reader, the student, the teacher will decide if what he was saying is making sense or not. So we are not even imposing the fact that his narrative, that people must agree to it. But my humble plea, and it's a humble plea, is that we need to know what he said. Because many people don't know what he said, what he was trying to do. So we
make
praise him.
assumptions. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We praise him, but we have not really taken time to understand or try and familiarize ourselves with his words. And he wrote copiously. He was a president, but he was writing every day. Mother said the lights in his office would be on way after midnight. He never stopped writing. Besides his duties and responsibilities as a president. And that meant he understood why he had to write.
Right.
For posterity, for generations to come, for the future. So God gave him that gift and that strength and that intellectual ability to articulate our future for us. And so let us hear it. So his books, his writings, his speeches
must be there. Now, I'll ask you how you felt when the previous government decided to scrap the holiday for the birthday. Then we had the Founders' Day. Even the Kotoka International Airport is something that for you is a symbol of rejection. Yes. What about what the previous government did? How did you feel?
Yes, of course, I wasn't happy about it. But I've always made it a point since my return to Ghana to see how we can reach consensus as a people. I haven't been happy about the airport, and I've said it. Yes, I wasn't happy with the change of founders because if you delve into the history, it is clear that modern day Ghana and happened or became what it is, a Pan-African country, because of Nkrumah's intervention. He himself said it. The independence struggle started before him and will continue after him. He said it. But, in every struggle, you have a figure that is a catalyst that towers above all, and there are many reasons why. So it was because my concern was that it was a way of making us think that, okay, maybe we don't need to listen to what Nkrumah was saying. He didn't leave us anything important to look at. You know, anything that diminishes Nkrumah's legacy in our eyes has an adverse effect on our mindset as
Do you think
Ghanaians.
so I
didn't agree with
it were diminished by the previous government?
No, and this is where I was coming to. When I said that I always believe in unity of Ghanaians, as I believe in unity of Africans, because we will not move forward if we are going to be fighting with each other.
Yeah.
And if we are going to be extra partisan, you know, we are not going to move forward. It will derail our efforts. So I'm a great believer in consensus building and in moving together. So if I look at the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum and Memorial Park, it was renovated.
Yes.
And
it's
restructured.
Beautiful now.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I came out and commended the government and President Nana Addo because of this great work, you know. So it was not done in all the years since the mausoleum was built. That we are talking about, what, 92?
Yes.
It was maybe repainted, clean, but it was never built, restructured or renovated in this way. So I also factored that in, you know. So, and I can see that means something, you know, that even people who are not in total agreement with Kwame Nkrumah's policies or ideas are still acknowledging him. They still feel the need to do something positive for his memory and his legacy. And what does that tell us? That we are moving to a point where the majority of Ghanaians, irrespective of which political party you lean towards or belong to, are starting to say, yes, let's take a second look at Kwame Nkrumah and his legacy and his achievements.
Fantastic. It's a beautiful time, I must say, to celebrate the one and only Osagyefo for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. 116 years. What's your fondest memory of him?
Oh, I have several. At Nkrofol, I spoke about the day of the coup, when he encouraged us, when he spoke to us, when we were so relieved to hear his voice, and how he was encouraging me, telling me, Yaba, be strong, don't be afraid. And you can't imagine how this helped me, a little girl who was crying the whole day and afraid. But this stayed with me. We never saw him again.
And how old were you?
I was almost 6 years old.
Wow.
Yes, but it was such a powerful message, and I keep on hearing it in different ways. And I remember Mother used to say, I'm the strongest of them all. And I wonder, maybe his advice, his words were so powerful that they stayed with me. I remember him taking us to the gardens of Flagstaff House. I remember him eating with us, eating his fufu, his soup, his favorite. He loved our local dishes. That's all what he ate, you know, when he was at home. So we have so many memories of him. But I even have memories of dreams of him, because you know, you can't be associated with a great figure like that and somehow not dream about him or see him in your dreams. So when I was working in London and wanting to get back to school, complete my university education, but struggling, and I had this powerful dream of him telling me, yes, do it, you can do it, you are stronger, you can do it. Yes. When I was pregnant with our son, and when I knew it was very late in the pregnancy, I didn't want to know whether it was a girl or boy, because they're the same, you know, to us. Parents love their children anyway, unconditionally. But when I found out it was a boy, and it coincided with the year 1997,
Right.
the 40th anniversary
Yes.
of Ghana's independence, and Mother had come here. She was invited. I think it was the Rawlings government, yes, invited to be part of the celebration. So I couldn't go, and because I was heavily pregnant, and so when I found out that it's going to be a boy, I said, well, there's only one name, like we do traditionally.
Yes.
He has to be called after his grandfather. But I had a dream. What was incredible is I had this powerful dream. Our father and I were going to the cinema, which we never did, of course. I mean, we had a meal, we went out and we had a meal, and I was talking to him and saying, look, this is what happened to me. He said, oh, and he repeats. So that theme of being strong, Papa, you're a strong girl, that theme kept on repeating in my head, in my consciousness. And I think that's what we have to be. We must not be afraid of telling his story.
Yes, and today you've told his story beautifully, and
Thank
we
you.
are so happy to hear all the beautiful stories about Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. I know he's not here. Maybe you dream tonight. If you dream and he appears in your dream, what will you tell him?
I will tell him that we are setting up the Kwame Nkrumah Foundation to preserve and diffuse his ideas all over the world. That there's an army of us who wants to benefit from his teachings.
And I know he's definitely proud of you, Samia. Great. Thank you so much for granting us the opportunity to have this conversation with you. It's been an honor. And
Thank you. Thank you for giving us a voice. Yeah, and thank you. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
doing what you are doing.
You're welcome. Is there anything you want to tell the world as they're watching you?
Oh, there are so many things I want to tell the world. But I think at this point, I think maybe to all Africans that let's take up the unity project seriously, because that is the only way we are going to become powerful and raise the standard of living of all Africans, Africans all over the world. Let's work together, build our industries, our infrastructure, everything, our technology. Africa must unite.
Africa must unite. Thank you so much, Samia. And it's been good. So this is all time will permit us for the big interview. Thank you so much for watching Prime Morning today. And we will say a very big thank you to everybody that stayed glued to your television set from 6 a.m. till now. My name is Roslyn Felly. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.